Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here, and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So I was away on vacation for a week, and I'm now back, and this is right in the middle of the current event, Infernal Uprising. So this episode is going to be more of a deck review, as well as an actual strategic deck building, and like I stated before, I am trying to focus on free to play, so the decks I'm going to be building are based on cards that I do have in my collection, but also focused around what you can get from the collection itself. So before we get into it, well, you'll notice that the tier for this deck is another S tier, where S tier decks are the type of decks that have the potential to go up to Power Gem 4s across the entire board or very close to it, dealing really high damage. And this has been a trend for the last few events now. So I think I am going to spend some time and do some analysis and trying to sort of showcase, show how the progression has been for the game itself, because I've noticed a clear trend here, and I want to talk about that a little bit as well. So let's go into the event here. Now, this deck is very much similar to the Domi and the Tyra deck, the red deck, and the dark deck. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this particular deck that features Domi, Bestiarius, and well, I have Flameheart here because I'm actually running this deck. I'm using her as a Gem Silence Dispeller, but Gladia is the other card. Or you have the dark deck that uses, I don't think I have from here, but uses Tyra is another card as well there. So this deck is very similar, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I have other videos that have featured sort of the full mechanic of it. But again, Bonada is your gem spawner that creates 1 power gem for 3 turns. With a 3-turn cooldown, you'll basically continue to use the skills to activate that the battle skill, and so you'll never run out of water gems on the board. Sutone is one of the cards I really wanted. I think it's a really cool graphic, and I really wanted him, but unfortunately I didn't get him in the collection. And I did buy up to tier 3 with my gems that I had on me, because you do get 500 gems back at tier 3. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them, and so I'm left with just 1500. I guess I was left with just enough to also buy up to tier 2 for the relic here. Now let's go back to the cards here. The ultra rare Sentry Storm is a really good card. It boosts your damage as well as giving a passive ability that will give you a power gem 3 or higher, as long as you start the turn with a power gem 1 or higher at 6 stars. And then the ultra rare, I can't tell if it's Jello or Gello. I kind of like the name Jello just because it's Jello the Golem, right? But I think it's probably meant to be pronounced as Gello the Golem. And this one is a very similar mechanic here, with a passive that will create power gem 4 instead of power gem 3, as long as there is a power gem 1 or so. So the mechanic is going to be very similar, and I do want to talk about the cards that you can get around this as well. So General Drief is not a bad card to have. It is a warrior card. Very old. This card actually came out in the Star Wars when the movie Rogue One came out for Star Wars. And so this one of the first cards I got to 6 stars, and unfortunately for my collection, I got him at 5 stars. So I didn't get the other 2 that I wanted, which was Eversharp, which does have a nice battle skill that heals you at 6 stars. If the health is under 40%, it gives you a 30% boost. And then Theseus is the card that I really wanted, but unfortunately I couldn't get. So this one is another gem spawner, what converts gems into from earth gems to water gems and deals additional damage. Now, so let's talk about the relic as well, because I think this is the most crucial component to the deck itself. So this is a little different now compared to before. This has made the deck a bit more powerful, because it will create power gem 2s as long as there's a spirit on the team and there are 12 water gems on the board. So this, compared to the previous relic, which generates 1 power gem, this is going to make the team a lot more powerful. So again, like I said, I got lucky. I have 2 relics at tier 2 for this from this pack, so I was really happy about that. Now, the 2 decks that I wanted to talk about that I've created, one is this one, which uses Hermes. Hermes is a It's a balance card, but it does provide a 300% damage and health boost for all water warrior heroes. So depending on the cards you have, if you have Sarkasa, I would recommend bringing him in because then you can use the relic. I brought in Neagle here because I don't have a gem silence dispeller other than him for water affinity, and so I'm using that. And I have 2 Bonadas, so then these are the 2 that I could. I'm gonna go ahead and join this real quick, and let's go back in here, and then we can use this. And then you can see here I have relics that increase the intensity of spirits that are off color or off. They're basically not of the same type, but they work. And then I brought in the Storm Hammer to create another power gem on turn when I have more water gems on the board. The other one I have here has less health, but I wanted to talk about Farah. So Farah is a really nice card. I got her from Path of Champions. And okay, so let's go ahead and get this as well. Apologies, but I do want to make sure I don't lose out on this one. And this kind of goes toward the thing I wanted to talk about for this event as well. So anyway, so Farah is a card that works really well if you have Arthur. So Arthur powers this card really well, but by herself, she's good too, in that she'll increase the damage of all your enemies taken by 25%. Okay, and so you're getting just a free damage boost right there by doing that, and it also transforms Earth Gem into Water Gem. So this is what I'm running with right now. Let's go in and do a quick fight on the boss right now and see how this goes. So let's go ahead and take this boss. Make sure I'm on the right one. We'll do a test on both decks. So let's go ahead and run with this, and let's see how this works here. So with this setup, I have very low health, so I only have a couple of turns to really deal some damage here. And my goal here is to conserve water gems, right? So the goal here is to try and save water gems if possible, because you need 12 water gems or more on the board before you can really take advantage of your relic, okay? And with my current setup, I believe I can only survive 2 hits total. And so I want to activate my Sarkasa as early as possible and try to avoid matching my blue gems. And you can see here, you can see that the vortex, again, my relics are activating. But unfortunately, I'm going to lose some water gems here. So hopefully, I'm hoping I have enough here. So I do have enough. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is make sure I don't want to lose any more. So I'm just going to go ahead and activate Farah, and then activate the 2 Bonada skills. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a power gem swap here. And you can see I am dealing over 900 million damage for each of the 2 Bonada cards. So that's actually really, that's pretty good for using free cards here. And then the same thing here, just go ahead and do a quick power gem swap again. And I'll be able to do this one more time before I lose all my health. And again, this is 233 million. So on this next turn, I'll be able to just deal enough damage, and I should be able to take this boss out. So this was a 2 billion health boss, and so you can see that with this setup, with only the relics, and it's really the relics that's the VIP here, I was able to do some good damage here. So now let's go and see if there's another boss. Let's go and take this one. Let's try this one and see how this goes, right? So similar idea. If you don't have, if you have Hermes, you can try this as well. Now keep in mind, Hermes doesn't power itself up. And if you had Sutone, obviously use that instead of Nigo. So now this one's a little bit different. I don't have Farah, and so I do want to make sure that I do want to make sure I power them up, but I don't want to lose all of my power gem. So I just want to. Unfortunately, that did happen there. And so with this setup here, again, I'm going to activate Sarkasa. And instead of just doing quick matches, I'm gonna try and see if I could get more water gems to fall. Right, so getting more water gems to fall, and at the same time, if possible, I also want to make sure that I can try and create additional power gems that are off affinity if possible. Now I have more space to play with here because I have more health now, and so I can take more hits. Okay, I can take, I think, maybe one more hit. Now let's see here. So okay, so I think I could do one more here, and let's go with that. Okay, so now my vortex is built up. Unfortunately, the water gem got matched there, and now I want to make sure I don't actually activate my Hermes battle skill, because he will actually kill one of my he'll randomly destroy one of your heroes. So it's one of those, like, you know, last ditch effort type. Okay, so you can see it also dealt about 900 million damage. So this is another deck that can also do really good damage there. So these are the two decks I'm using here. But like I said, really it's the relics that make a difference here. And so for both setup, I've made sure that I use the previous relics in the past. Even though they don't give me water gems, I'm still using them to boost the damage here. It really helps increase the damage of your Bonada. So in my case, my damage dealer are my 2 free cards, and perhaps if I got a third one I could use it, but I don't have enough gems to invest in it, so I'm just running with 2 right now. So I'm gonna sign off now with a couple thoughts here. So I wanted to do some you know, some strategy of the deck here. And actually, before I do that, if you don't have Farah, but you do have you know, let's say, depending on the cards you have, right? So this one, if you don't have Sarkasa, you could potentially swap out. Let's go ahead and use water here. But you do have Hermes. You know, bring in Lord Driev, right? This is not a bad option either, right? So this is a card that you know, does have 10 times bonus here, and it does have it's kind of like a nuke, right? So what it'll do is it'll attack an enemy for 750% of the attack, and it ignores defense. So if you have an enemy with really high defense, it doesn't matter, it'll still get attacked through. So this is another option. So kind of pick and choose and sort of see where things go. But I think from my perspective, relics are the way to go now, right? This is sort of the meta now. Relics make the deck. If it weren't for these relics, these decks would be mediocre at best, right? And so I think that having these relics, if you have saved up enough gems and you're sort of debating on what you should go after more, I would want to make sure that you can at least get enough gems to get at least 1 relic. Okay, so and if you can get 2 by tier 2 or 3, that's really good. So my last thoughts here are, you know, I showed you a deck that could deal about 2 million damage, but it kind of doesn't make any dent to the recent bosses that have hundreds of billions of damage health. Or in case a couple cases I saw were some Infernal world bosses that you know, that have just 600 or so billion. And so, you know, that kind of makes it hard for those type of decks to really make a dent to it. But they did introduce something that's a little different, and that is with every Infernal boss now, I'm just gonna show you with 1 key, they've done a couple of things. They've done 2 things. Number 1, they've increased the timer to 60 seconds. And then number 2, they've also decreased the total amount of damage that you take from the bosses. So if we just kind of run with this for now, so like you can see what I'm just gonna play around a little bit and show you what it means. So you can see that it takes 2 turns. So I'm gonna do 2 turns here. So with, you know, 60 seconds just feels like it's forever. You have so much time to deal a lot of damage. And then if you take the look, I have 27,000, and I only got, you know, it only dealt about 18,000 or so. And so, you know, you have some survivability as well. And this is a card that, you know, I'm just using 1 key, right? And I didn't get 1 shot. I'm using only 1 key, and I didn't get 1 shot at 251 Infernal, right? So the idea is you get less damage, and you can also you know, survive longer, attack longer, because you have more time. So the idea is hopefully that offsets so that, you know, your inability to do as much damage in a 20-second boss fight. So that's sort of, you know, where things are. Unfortunately, it is making it harder and harder for the free-to-play decks to really compete at a high level. But for me, I think, you know, I think it's just they're changing the game, and I think they're making adjustments. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of adjustments they make. I think the 60-second timer and the decreased attack is a good step. I'm just looking to see if they can make the free cards that you're able to get a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to the day when your collections in in one of these three slots are a good ultra rare card that is from the past. I think that Blazing Glory was a really good add, but I would really like to see something that can add to the current event, one that has the same class. So if it's running a spirit hero, let's try and add another card that's a spirit, that so that if you don't get event card, you still have a card that can benefit from it, even for just that one event. I think that would really add to the arsenal and really add to the sort of just different ways and the variety to the games. That's how I feel about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. So those are the two decks I'm running. And if you have any other ideas, I'm just using what I have. But I would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on what you're doing, what you're running with. And if I could, I would love to check them out as well. So that's it for this episode. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care.